it is the biggest game. We already know the demand for hotels has gone up. There'll be a huge demand for tickets. It's best to have it in a stadium, the politics aside, best to have it in a stadium that can hold about 1.3 crore people. It's not just the biggest cricket stadium in the world, as the BCCI secretary pointed out a few days ago. It's the biggest sporting venue in the world at the moment. So the biggest game needs to be played at the biggest venue. But Mr. Hashmi, to you, at the moment, you sounded very positive. You think Pakistan should take this opportunity up. How do you see PCB, and will the PCB stand now change? Because, just to give our viewers a bit of a background, the earlier PCB boss in Najam Saidi was all right. He said, okay, let's have a, I'm just talking about the Asia Cup. He said, let's have a hybrid model. We'll be fine with that. Zaka Ashraf is expected to take over now. He's had a more hardline stand. He said that I wouldn't have even been happy with a hybrid model. Do you see if Zaka Ashraf was to take over PCB as expected, would the PCB then under him be okay to play in Ahmedabad? Would they then give in to the demands, or do you think they'll take a more hard stand on it?
I don't think he'll take a hard stance on it, because he was the one who sent Pakistan cricket team across the border in 2012 without getting any revenues to play 2 T20 international and 3 ODIs. But the decision will finally rest on government of Pakistan and the Foreign Office. If you remember, Bilawal Bhutto, who's properly groomed, who's a pedigree in politics, Benazir Bhutto's son, he went to Goa and he said that will not come to a stage where we could stop Pakistan going to India and play in Ahmedabad. So he's very positive, and we are also very positive. Why not play at the biggest ground in the country? Why not beat India there, and then the pressure on Indian team will be double. 132K people chanting for India's win, and then beat India there. So I think the decision will rest on government. PCB will be guided by the decision from Foreign Office and the government of the time.
Okay, Mr. Mathur, let's take a look at from the other point of view, because we're talking about now ICC versus the PCB. Now, there has been precedent in the past where we've had teams pull out. West Indies and Australia infamously refused to tour Sri Lanka in the 1996 World Cup. Then you had a situation in the 2003 World Cup where, again, because of diplomatic issues, England refused to travel to Zimbabwe. There is a case in point there. Without risking any sort of sanctions against you, a team, if it feels it's not right for them because of diplomatic reasons, security reasons, can pull out. Looking at the tournament's format, because you're playing 9 games, you can afford to forfeit 1 game. What does then stop PCB from taking that route? And if PCB does take that route, how is it going to harm the ICC? Can ICC allow that to happen?
Listen, if it's decided to boycott a game and pull out, it's going to be unfortunate.
They can allow it,
and it will also punitive action. You lose points, that's obvious. It's like. Secondly, there's also massive commercial issues involved now. The way the game has evolved, how each match has so much. Who knows? The ICC may want to impose some team which decides to boycott a game. So, considered decision about, and I'm sure ultimately it's the cricket matters which will these factors.
Mr. Hashmi, let me take that question. He said, you know what, having ego is all right if you want to, but don't keep, doing flip-flop. That's what he said. I'm saying from Pakistan's point of view, let's say if there is a genuine threat, if they decide to forfeit, wouldn't ICC then be forced to change the venue? Because the one party that has most to lose would be the ICC, because in terms of broadcast rights, everything is riding on an India-Pakistan game. If Pakistan decides to forfeit 2 points and try and make up in the rest of the points, but that money loss is going to be ICC's, not PCB. Why can Pakistan then look at that angle as well, in case they feel, yes, there is a security threat and ICC is not ready to change the venue?
There are multiple factors. The biggest one is revenue generation. If you don't play India, then a lot of money will be lost, and it's a cutthroat event. You can't afford to forfeit 2 points
but PCB
for
does
one
not
match.
lose that money.
There is
ICC
no guarantee
loses that money.
Yeah, ICC will lose that money, but Pakistan will lose 2 crucial points. And as I'm saying that it's a cutthroat event. You cannot guarantee beating Scotland. You cannot guarantee beating Sri Lanka or West Indies, who will be qualifying for the event. So it's a cutthroat event. Last event in 2019, Pakistan lost to West Indies and could never recover. They could not qualify for the semi-finals. So don't do this. Don't forfeit. Just genuine threat. Shift the venue from Ahmedabad to somewhere else. We have a precedence in 2016. Dharamshala was supposed to host Pakistan-India game, and then it was switched to Kolkata on genuine threats only. So my advice, my take will be to go and play in Ahmedabad until and unless there are genuine security threats.